Get out your pen, get out your notepad, open up your ears. Adonis TV is back at it again. Today we're going to talk about the concept of warming up. It's a question I've been getting asked a little bit more and more by our athletes and our online clients, because obviously they're not there face to face, so they need a little bit more direction in regards to that. And they want to know how do they go about warming up the best, because they either warm up too much, they do too much work, and by the time they get to their top set they're too tired, or they're not warmed up enough, and by the time they get to their top set they still feel cold. They don't feel like they're switched on, they're awake. So here is my recommendations on some rules of thumb for warming up and getting to your top set to have the best out of your workout. What you want to be doing is, initially, before you even touch the bar, you want to get the body's temperature up, okay? And that's done through just general movement. Why get the body's temperature up? Because when you get the body's temperature up, you are increasing and improving the elasticity in the muscle tissue and the tendons, and that helps in the stretch shortening cycle when you're actually going to do your workout. It will also help start to lubricate joints, because you're putting movement through the body and the joints through that general warm-up. And obviously you want a well lubricated joint when you're going to be doing, let's just say, multiple sets and reps of squats, grinding the joints and so on. So those are the two main effects. And another thing is, it starts to wake up the nervous system a little bit, okay, which obviously you need, especially for heavy strength training. Now, how do you do that? You normally can achieve just an increase in body temperature through general, like say, walking lunges, through bodyweight squats, through some mobility work, so like some band work, and just getting the body moving in general, and moving the joints that are going to be needed in the coming exercise through a preferably larger range of motion. So if you can put the hips through a large range of motion to to help mobility in the hips, right? If you can put if you can do some full range bodyweight squats, that you go to a deep knee flexion and then come back up again, even like slowed down and more deliberate, things like that. Could be some Cossack squats, side to side lunges, things like that, to open up the hips, things like that. You shouldn't spend too much time doing that. Just maybe you could even do it like between your sets as you're warming up, but definitely no more than 5 minutes or so. That's more than enough. After you get the body warmed up and moving, if you have any particular movement restrictions, then you can go a little bit harder and focus a little bit more on doing things like foam rolling and fascia release. But to do half an hour of foam rolling before every session, in my opinion, is a waste of time, because first of all, fascia release is temporary. Second of all, you actually end up feeling looser. You end up feeling more relaxed before you want to lift something heavy. It's the complete opposite of what you want. Look, some people do a lot of foam rolling and myofascial release before they start a training session, but I would argue that you would probably even have better results if you do minimal amounts, like just enough to make something happen, just enough to make a difference to your training, instead of half an hour mindlessly just rolling and becoming relaxed. Anyway, moving on from that, once you start with the actual exercise, so let's just say squats for an example, you want to do at least a good solid 5 sets from the empty bar to your top set, when you want to start your top set. Now, the stronger you are, the more sets you might have to do, okay? Give or take maybe 1 or 2 sets, right? And obviously the less your squat max is, then the less sets. But a good rule of thumb is definitely usually at least 5 sets. So for example, if your top set of squat is going to be 200 kilos, you would go first and foremost always with just the bar. You start with the bar for like 10 reps. then you would put on, say, 60 kilos and you go for 5 reps. And then you might put on 100 kilos and you go for another 5 reps or so. And then you could go 140 for 3 reps, 160 for 1, 180 for 1, and then you could either just go straight to 200, or you could do 190 for another one and then go to 200. So you can see that there's a good 5 or 6 sets there before you start your 200, and by that time you would have gotten used to the bar on your back. You would have gotten used to the movement pattern of what you're supposed to be doing, and so when you get to the top set of the 200, it doesn't feel so foreign as, you know, if you were to go just like bar 100, 150, 180, 200. That could be a little bit too quick of a jump. And you conversely don't want to do too many sets. So you want to go like bar 60, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. You know what I mean? It just starts to become too much, and you just get fatigued by the time you get to the top set. So it's just finding that good middle ground and then sticking to it and going from there. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Just all you want to do is start with the higher reps at the start with the bar, empty bar, and then, you know, maybe 1 or 2 sets with 5 reps, a couple of sets with like 3 reps, and then after that it will just be single reps until you hit your top set, and you just go from there. So hopefully that helps out. That's a little bit of a guideline on how to warm up, how to optimize your warm up so that it carries over to your performance in training. Try it out. If there's any further questions in regards to warming up, please let us know, and I'll try to address that as well. Until next episode, Samir Fazeli, Adonis TV, over and out.